why, James, are the American taxpayers sending money to Australian universities? So one of the things that Doge has come out, they did this brilliant thing. They sent a letter to all these. Tell us about it. They sent a letter to all these universities.
So basically, you know, and suddenly it's all become like, oh my God, the United States is interfering with our research here, and you know, they've said, well, apparently America is giving research grants to Australian universities. Okay, fine, maybe it's for some important work, maybe it's for who knows what. But they sent these questionnaires and they said, well, you know, what are your university's policies on two genders, on DEI, and all of these sorts of things? Pretty reasonable stuff. And, you know, this has become this whole huge freak out that, oh, America is interfering with our independence by threatening to take away money that they're giving us. So I don't even understand how that works. But the crazy thing is, the great thing is actually about what Donald Trump has done to universities in America right now is phenomenal.
Really?
And this is, he is taking an absolute fire hose through these institutions that have been allowed to become these entirely politicized institutions. Columbia has now come to the table and said, all right, we're going to do a deal because our funding is at stake. I think his next move is going to be starting to move against the accreditation of a lot of universities that aren't going along with things like, you know, not using racial discrimination in their hiring and in their admissions policies, which is a huge issue in America. So this is the sort of thing that we need to be doing, because we'll talk about it later in the show. But, you know, we see at Macquarie University what's been going on there with all the welcome to country nonsense. So, yeah, we need to do this to the universities here in Australia.
We need it, and we know the left's march through the institutions started in academia. It has now spread like a cancer throughout all of society. It's in private institutions and in every facet of life. And Donald Trump, unlike 99% of conservative or right-wing leaders, whatever you want to call, is actually using power and tackling the cancer at its root. And if you want to change all the stuff that everyone complains about incessantly, how do we get here? How do we have like 500 genders? Why do we have this in our schools? Why are we so destructive and degenerate? Well, you actually need to support policies like this. And it's not always pretty. It's going to have an enormous amount of resistance. The left, who've just had their own way, whether the coalition or Labor are in charge, are going to arc up and they're going to have a mass tantrum, and you've just got to withstand it. US is doing that. They all withstand the tantrum, but I don't think our politicians have the guts or the backbone.
Well, the trouble is we are at a fork in the road, James, and over the next 18 months to 2 years, America's going to surge ahead. There's no question of that. It's going to surge ahead, and Australia's going to be left behind. Certainly left way, way behind if Albanese and co stay in power. But even if the coalition get into power, and which I hope they will, but carry on with this kind of, we're not quite sure, we're going to be a bit Labourish. No. The coalition have to get in. They have to cut hard. They have to cut the bureaucracy hard. There's so many things they need to do, particularly getting rid of red and green and black tape. This country's worried about welcome to country ceremonies when we're not focusing on the real issues, which is how to get this economy thriving, which we can do.